Hey everyone, we're here with Billy Doran. He's with the Fossil Posse, and he's a regular here at Beaver Creek for their family programming. You can see him in the winter and the summer talking about the creatures that roamed Eagle County.
Prehistoric Colorado, Tricia. That's what I do. You just touched on Fossil Posse. So what I do in Fossil Posse is I like to bring the prehistoric world to guests, to locals, to kids, anyone that really wants to learn about this stuff.
Yeah.
When I'm not doing shows or doing the kids camps and things like that, I'm actually out in the hills digging up dinosaurs, looking for dinosaurs and looking for proof of our prehistoric past here in Colorado.
Well, and we're not talking hundreds of years ago. We're
No.
talking.
We're not even talking hundreds of thousands of years. We're talking hundreds of millions of years ago. Yeah.
This is so crazy, and you've got all this great displays. You can really kind of spell it out to the kids and the adults. And I've seen your shows. The parents are just as interested as the kids.
Absolutely. I tell you what, nothing turns an adult into a child again. And when you hand them a fossil or a tooth, they all of a sudden they're like, T-Rex.
I know, it's so fun. Well, show us some of your
Sure.
props that you bring
So
out.
this is some of the stuff I use. So I mean, visual aids are huge when you're talking about the prehistoric world. I can talk and talk and talk, but people want to see stuff.
Yes.
So one of the things I like to talk about and push around here is how the Earth has changed. You know, the Rocky Mountains are only about 70 million years old. But if we could go back to times like the Triassic, you know, it used to look kind of like this.
Okay.
I mean, Tricia, this is so long ago, there's no flowers, there's no butterflies, there's no bees. We have the very first dinosaurs. But then as things rapidly change, we move into time frames like this in the Jurassic. This is 150 million years ago.
Okay.
With some of the most famous dinosaurs like Stegosaurus walking around. We start seeing a massive change here when, towards the end of the Jurassic, we have some of the biggest animals, Brachiosaurus. Literally, they would have shook the earth as they walked. 130, 140,000 pound animals. And this is actually cool. It was one of the things I like to show people. This is when things change dramatically here, because if you notice, there's still no Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
But as we come into the Cretaceous, we still don't have Rocky Mountains, but we have an ocean appearing. So it's things like that, being able to show that at one time, right where you're standing would have looked like this. We were completely underwater at one point in Colorado. There were no Rocky Mountains, and this would have been this beautiful Caribbean-like ocean. So it's stuff like this I like to show to give people that sense that, you know, the Earth is constantly changing, and when you go back these time periods, entire landscapes did not exist. They would have been something different.
I kind of let your imagination go wild, thinking about those bees that would have shook the earth with each step.
Well, not just that, but if we can get one more shot, check out, we're talking about the prehistoric oceans, you would not want to meet these creatures.
Oh my gosh.
This animal was more than 65 feet long, 120,000 pounds. This is literally the T-Rex of the ocean. They ate whatever they wanted, including their friends and family members. And we found bones from these guys in Eagle County, so we know they were here.
Okay. Yeah, and then, you know, besides the visual aids with this, then he brings out some of these artifacts and just the different findings.
Absolutely, because one of the things I also like to do is get the kids involved, get the kids thinking, so I can say, well, how do we know these animals ever exist? Sure, you can pick up a book, but how do we know they were here?
Yeah.
And I just love kids because they know fossils, bones, you know, here's a big chunk of dinosaur bone right here, or things like claws. This is a big claw from an Allosaurus. So it's these things that teach us that they're around, but beyond that, I like kids to even think even one step further, not just fossils, but what the fossils can tell us. And this is a cool fossil, one of my favorites. And if I grab this guy right here, this is Triceratops, one of the most famous dinosaurs. Every kid knows Triceratops. So if I could magically kind of pull out a piece of his horn, that's what this is. This is a real piece of Triceratops' horn. So beyond that, a kid can look at this and go, that's really cool. And I'll go, yeah? I'm about to make this really, really cool. You see what these lines right here? You see those lines? Those are teeth marks from Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Oh!
The only animal big enough to take down Triceratops. So now, not only is this a Triceratops fossil, but this is a fossil from a Triceratops that got attacked by Tyrannosaurus Rex, because the fossils tell us that there's teeth marks right there.
Looks like it's not a happy ending.
Well, we don't know.
I don't know.
This could have broken off and he could have run away and lived his life, or he could have become T-Rex's lunch. We don't know, but we know that he got attacked by Tyrannosaurus Rex. So fossils definitely can tell the stories behind the animals as well.
I know you have a Q&A too. What are some of the most asked questions you get?
Gosh, well, one of the biggest ones, because probably the most famous animal around is Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's got the best Hollywood agent. So it's did T-Rex live in Colorado? And the answer is yes, he lived in Colorado. Other ones might be, what are some of the biggest things I've ever found? For me, one of the things I found last summer was bones to an animal that was 100,000 pounds called Camarasaurus, who would have looked a lot like these guys, but not quite as big as this is Brachiosaurus, but a giant long neck. And things like, who would win in a fight is always a fun one, So, but a little bit of everything. And that's the greatest thing is kids, their imaginations just come to life.
Oh, I know.
All the
They
things that
totally
they
do.
think about, all of a sudden they're just regurgitating. They want to tell me everything they know, and I love that. Although sometimes I got to quiet them down because I'm trying to do a show and I'm on a timeline. But I love when they want to share with me what they know.
I know, and parents, if you want to have your kids completely engrossed in what is going on, this is the ticket. They're not going to be on their iPads on this show.
That's
They
true.
are going to be listening to Billy Doran. Okay, Billy, thanks so much.
Thanks
And,
for having me, Tricia.
Yeah, we're so happy to always have him up here at Beaver Creek, throughout the winter and the summer.